Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you, along with Tariq Spence. How you doing, man?
Hey, listen, as I said before, never a dull moment in the world of sports.
No, there really isn't. And Pat Duffy decked out in 13 this week. Go ahead.
The Angel Gabriel Davis about to become the most dangerous second receiver in all of the NFL.
Either that or the most overrated fantasy player in the league.
Okay, with Josh Allen as his quarterback, a man who made Dawson Knox a guy who's never caught a touchdown.
I think he's all off. I'm afraid. My fear is that it's all off one game, the 4-touchdown game.
I'm done talking to you, so you guys enjoy doing the rest of your show.
All right, well, we'll get back to that. Let's talk NFL Top 100. Everybody likes lists, so we've got this, the NFL Top 100 players to kick around. What do you think?
Well, I think Tom Brady shouldn't be number one. I'll tell you that right now. Aaron Donald should be number one. But besides that, I don't know. It's so bizarre because on this list, you started looking at all the different players that are in the top 10, and I agree with it. I know we'll go into Josh Allen being 13. I do think he is top 10. I do feel that there's a couple other players. Jalen Ramsey should not be in the top 10. There's a couple of other players I just don't feel should be in the top 10. Travis Kelce, the other. Don't think he should be in the top 10. But that being said, it's a list. It doesn't really even matter. I mean, Odell Beckham made the list. I mean, he's not even playing yet in the league. So, I mean, it's just it's one of those things where we just like to debate him like the shows just like this.
Yeah, I think the credibility of it is that it came from NFL players. It isn't just some random list, and there's plenty of those out there. This was the players' vote.
Yeah, but I mean, how many of those guys are voting for their buddies and teammates and things like that? Look, when Josh
Allen... doesn't everyone hate Tom Brady?
I do hate Tom Brady. So you said everyone.
But you don't play.
Well, should.
But he finishes number one. I mean, there's some support there somehow, some way.
Who the heck knows? Look, the fact that
Pat Mahomes dropped like from 1 to 9.
So did Josh Allen. He lost 3 spots. Now, somebody told me that they vote for this in the middle of the season, and at that time, both Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes were going through a rough spot. But that being said, if that was the case, Odell Beckham Jr. shouldn't have made the top 100 at all because he had just been released from a job in Cleveland and resurrected the second half of his season in Los Angeles. Look, man, you know why they do these shows? They do these shows so everyone comes on and is like, and this is what everyone's doing. Any list...
Hear that all the time.
Literally word for word.
And I never get tired of it.
Any list that has Josh Allen outside of the top 10 best NFL players. Because I was expecting to see top 5. It's not worth anything.
You know what a more accurate list is? Is the ADP in a fantasy list. You know, for the skill players, where you've got Jonathan Taylor, you got Cooper Kupp up there, Austin Eckler are like the best, and, you know, Josh Allen's like far and away the top-ranked quarterback.
If you're going to do a list, just do a list of fantasy football players, because that's what people really care about. I mean, literally, the list should be the top 10 to maybe 20 players in the NFL, shouldn't be 100, and it should be the top 100 players you draft for your fantasy league, because that's all people care about.
Yeah, then we're going to do a segment in that a little bit later, so you guys, everyone is going to be ready for you guys. You know, out your picks. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants that.
Well, let Madden do it. How about that? Let's just let Madden pick all the top.
I was going to say he
passed
passed away. I don't know if you heard.
The game.
Well, I'm just making sure we're on the same page.
Gabriel Davis will be in the top 100 next year.
He's top 50.
Guess who's voting?
Top 10.
That was so disrespectful.
To Gabe Davis, I agree.
This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills and the opener next. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. For 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer, visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. Buffalo Bills open finally as favorites against the Super Bowl champs.
As we tape this, 2.5 points. Nobody's nervous, right? That you're 2.5 point favorites on the road against the Super Bowl champions in prime time on a Thursday night.
I hear the voice again.
Oh my God, man, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Why did we agree to jump on board for these expectations with this team and everyone we love so much?
Well, they were an underdog in May. It amazes me. You could have bet this game in May and the Bills were a 1-point underdog.
Was it not 7 days ago this man said he can't wait to get to the Super Bowl to take on Tom Brady and win?
What are you not realizing about Bills fans? When it's far and away, where it's not close, and I can imagine how successful things are going to be, it's wonderful. Now that we are in opening game week, I can't breathe. It feels like someone's sitting on my chest right now, and I think my left arm would numb a little bit.
All that notwithstanding, take a look at the roster. Assuming that they will have a punter at some point. What do you think? Coming out of training camp, Here's the team.
Look, this is the deepest team arguably the Bills have ever had, maybe with the exception of the 1991 team, right? But there is one glaring problem here, and that's the starting corner. The corner one, with Travius White being gone. And you're going to have a starting corner that's either, it's going to be a rookie, either Kaiir Elam or Christian Bedford, the 6th-round pick. You are going against Matthew Stafford, who's a serviceable quarterback, who just won, but that receiving core is really, really good, and they may have gotten better with their free agent signings. Your first game ever for one of these guys in a starting role, filling in for one of the best corners in the NFL, is going to be on national television, prime time, kickoff against the Super Bowl champions in their house.
With the best defensive player in the league and one of the best receivers on the other end to deal with. And to your point, I'm not quite sure what to make of this. I would just call it just close as possible. I'm thinking maybe a 3-point win by the Bills, if that. But this is going to be down to the wire. One, it's the Super Bowl slump. We all know teams that win the Super Bowl, they tend to take a step back a little bit, rest on their laurels. So you're hoping the Rams do that, and you're hoping the Bills are well prepared and go in with a Sean McDermott mentality of winning that first game.
I'm probably asking you a question you can't answer, but the PUP list with Travius White.
Yeah.
Have we any idea what's going on with this guy?
Absolutely none. And if I were the Bills, I'd keep it close to the vest as possible because you're going to need him somewhere down the line if he's able to play.
Well, look, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I don't think there's anything that went wrong. Everybody's body responds differently. He's on track.
And at least it's not IR. I mean, IR finishes you for the year, the preseason.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, look, I'm surprised they pupped him, I'll be honest with you. But look, he blew his knee out in Thanksgiving. It's not out of the question that it would take him this long to return. And Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have historically been very, very, very careful with major injuries on their players.
Long NFL season, a lot to play for down the line. No reason to rush him just yet. Play your first 5-6 games, see where you are, maybe bye week, bring him back.
And in the first 4, I mean, look, they're big-time games with the Rams, everybody coming through, right? But you don't want to lose that Thursday night game, but it's not going to destroy you losing out of conference on the road to start the season.
Heck of a way to open the season, too, against, defending Super Bowl champs, the best team in the AFC according to regular season last year. They were the top seed in Tennessee. So the Rams game, who you got?
I'm taking Buffalo. I think Tariq brought it up. There's going to be so much emotion in that stadium that I think the Bills will be able to come in and get it done. Plus, if you're going to go to the West Coast and do this, you want to do it opening night where there's no lag. Problem, you said you think it's close. If it's close, that favors the Rams. The Bills last season 0-6 in games decided by less than a touchdown.
24-21 Bills.
I think the Rams hold home court. Sets up Buffalo for a good.
Why is he not outraged? Why is he not out?
Why is he not? I'm so mad. I told you my left arm is numb out of nervousness. Oh, if I could throw a punch, I would.
Well, both of them would go numb. If I had said it, he would have been going crazy.
I can't reach you from across.
Our Buffalo Bills segment was brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not is next. Here's the Press Box Trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Getaway Guy. I'm in Canandaigua, and my podcast that you can see right now, look for The Getaway Guy on Facebook, is all about kids. And I begin here at a brand new park. Check it out. Look for The Getaway Guy on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Unfinished business now? All right. This past week, Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban was asked, would you draft Brittany Griner? We all know who Brittany Griner is, a senior at Baylor, who was a female basketball player. And he goes, possibly in the second round. And I love it. Who better of the NBA owners to break the gender barrier in the process, tick off the commissioner? Let's remember, the WNBA is funded by the NBA. I don't know if Griner will be a success. Let's see how she does in the Summer League in Las Vegas. I know she's 6'8", about 200 pounds. That's a power forward in the NBA. Block shots left and right, a great rebounder. The last woman to try out for an NBA team, Ann Myers, and Billy and I are old enough to remember back in 1979 with the Indiana Pacers. Will she make it? I don't know, but I want to see her at least be given that opportunity. And who better than Mark Cuban. Marketing standpoint, you can't beat it. Here's the Brittany Griner, who is the most dominant female basketball player I've ever seen. There's no doubt about it, and I think we'll get a look from an NBA club. Break the gender barrier.
Yeah, the NCAA tournament. Have you seen a more physical game than that Baylor-Louisville women's game?
Well, I mean, she's slender. She's not 6'8". We'll see. Put on a little bit of weight. See how she does in the summer league. I think she'll get a look. Whether she gets drafted, I don't know. I'd take a shot. By the way, second-round picks never make the team anyway. If you think about it, the NBA, there's so many Manu Ginobilis out there who make the team in the second round.
Yeah, if you're not a lottery pick, you're pretty much nobody.
You're basically done.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here. Like It or Not segment brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Tariq, like it or not, I know you did Unfinished Business just a week ago. The Serena Williams swan song at the U.S. Open.
Listen, I'm not quite sure we're taping this before she's eliminated, so hopefully she's still playing. If she's not, listen, there was a lot of stars that came out to see her. The U.S. Open is great. There have been a couple shockers already, which is interesting to me. Kind of opens up the field a little bit if she's still in it. But it's just fun to see somebody being celebrated for their greatness. And I think we do this a lot in sports, and we don't get to, I know there's these bad moments we love to bring back up when an athlete's at the end, but I like to see the fact that she's out there playing. This is it. It's over with. She's got plenty of things to do, family, career afterwards. So I love seeing it.
You know what it reminded me of was Mariano Rivera when he left the Yankees. And it was like, Mariano was always great and everyone knew it. And then when he was going around last time, it's like, wow, this guy, he was really beloved. And it's the same with Serena Williams. I don't think I fully appreciated how universally loved and respected she was.
And I think what's unfortunate is like, to fully wrap your arms around and wrap your head around how appreciated she was, you have to see her in the downslope of her career. Whereas Mariano Rivera was still performing at a really high level, right? Like you said, we haven't taped this yet, but nobody's expecting Serena to go on a run and win this thing. Like, this should have been a coronation 5 years ago when she had the opportunity to still play great and people fully appreciate the greatness that is her.
Yeah, wasn't it great to see Mike Tyson and Martina Navratilova sitting side by side in the stand?
with a dog in her lap. Like, you got Martina Navratilova, dog, Mike Tyson. Whose dog?
It doesn't matter because you're not kicking out either one of them. So it doesn't
well, they both fight.
Back together again. It was a thing of beauty. Like it or not, you got a fantasy slant for us here? As most of us are picking our teams this weekend.
So I'm going to be straight up front with you guys. I despise fantasy football. I hate it more than anything. However, I got roped into a work league that you have to die to get out of. I got the first overall pick this year.
And who did you take?
I haven't. The draft is next week, and I am taking Josh Allen with my first overall pick.
Wow. You got the first pick already? You already know?
Well, yeah, it's done for Josh Allen. I told all the guys.
Well,
don't
positionally, that's not unusual. Well, what do you think, Josh Allen first?
I mean,
Jonathan Taylor is a universal first pick.
I would have taken Jonathan Taylor, but I mean, listen, you know full well. It's just adds more anxiety. So Josh Allen throws a touchdown to, I don't know, Gabriel Davis, who he might draft in the 4th or 5th round, and he's going to get double points for it, so he's going to feel great.
Here's the thing. I'm sorry, you were going to say.
No, go ahead.
You bring up Jonathan Taylor and like these Austin Eckler and all these guys. Every year, like 2 or 3 running backs that are supposed to perform out of their mind completely disappear or they get injured. I mean, look at Christian McCaffrey last season, right? Like, so, yeah, what's the smarter player? Because all of the guys in my league are killing me because I told them I'm going to take Josh Allen first. One of those top 5 picks are going to completely disappear like a snowball. You know who's not? Josh Allen.
Well, I get 2 things. First, I think the most interesting player in a fantasy draft is Jalen Hurts because he's like the poor man's Josh Allen. He does what Josh does, just doesn't do it as well. Mm-hmm. And then an advice for you, especially since I'm saying this is like first time fantasy, the secret to enjoying fantasy, and this works, trust me, is don't look at the roster of the guy you're playing.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have a list of players you're rooting against because that spoils the game. Don't look at the roster of the guy you're playing.
I've played fantasy since I was 15 years old. I've hated every year of it. I don't know why I cannot stop playing fantasy football.
I'm interested to see how Hurts does this year in Tua because there are 2 question marks now. They've got to basically
Tua.
We'll see what happens.
Like it or not, our fantasy insights are brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Unfinished Business is brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Greg will meet or beat any competitor's price and can finance you with zero down. Call today or visit gregtheroofer.com. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg today.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business. We let Pat start.
The hardest position in football, they say, to pick is the quarterback, and they're wrong. Although it's not easy, the hardest position to project out of college is tight end, because this week the Buffalo Bills made a somewhat surprise cut when they let go of O.J. Howard, a guy who was pretty well heralded coming out of college, and a guy that the Bills thought they could turn around based on what he's done in the past, and they couldn't. He's gone, signed with the Bengals later in the week. But if you look at some of the greatest tight ends in NFL history, in fact, the greatest tight ends in NFL history, most of them picked after the third round. You look at guys that are taken in the first round every year that bust within 3, 4, 5 years. In fact, it seems almost crazy to take a tight end in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Tony Gonzalez is one that stands out that worked, but can you name 3 or 4 more? For example, Dawson Knox is an ascending tight end that could be one of the best in the league within the next year or two. He didn't catch a touchdown pass while he was playing college football at Ole Miss. And the list of great tight ends that were undrafted or picked after round 6, they go on and on and on and on. Bottom line is this: if you need a good tight end, good luck, because the guy that you bring in, you have no idea, and neither does he.
Have you ever heard of Rachel Richardson? Well, you might not have. We're talking about a college women's basketball star that plays volleyball at Duke. Now, say what you want about Duke, whether it's Duke basketball or Duke lacrosse, but I have to give props not only to her, but her coaches. During an incident when she was playing at Brigham Young University, she received racial slurs and taunts. Told her coach about it. Coach told officials. They went over to the area. And then the second time they were at that end of the court for volleyball, it got worse. She told her story recently and basically said, listen, she loved the fact that she was seen by her coaches. She was seen by the officials. The AD from Brigham Young saw her the next day to apologize, wasn't at the event. My question would be, why were those students still there? You see, every once in a while you get this thing read at a sporting event where they're talking about we don't appreciate or we will not accept any taunts or racial slurs or homophobic slurs, and you'll be asked to leave. Yet those students weren't asked to leave. It got actually worse. So how does Brigham Young, with all their morals and characters, allow this to take place? Well, since then, Richardson has received so much support from not only her teammates, her coaches, but people at Duke and Brigham Young that are on her side. It's a lesson to be learned and a battle that needs to continue. I expected more from Brigham Young, since morals is all they're about.
Damage control. It's an important part of what sports organizations do. There's always someone in position to compromise the integrity of the operation. It's a business obligation to root out the problem and limit its impact. Now, ordinarily, it goes like this. A written statement of denial is issued. Any culpability is shrouded behind legal issues. The matter is stonewalled at the inevitable press conference, and all involved wait for someone or something to inherit the news cycle. And it all eventually just goes away. The Buffalo Bills have a serious problem, as does the source of that problem, former punter Matt Araiza, who is accused of rape in a civil suit with possible criminal charges pending. When and how much the football team knew are questions that need to be answered, because we all need someone to be held accountable, because we all need to think that that will help make things measurably better, even if it doesn't. Well, the Buffalo Bills were in full damage control. They issued the statement and they cut the player involved, claimed some moral high ground to which they are not entitled. They did draft Araiza when others didn't for reasons unknown, signed him to a contract, handed him a job without at least some knowledge of the impending crisis. But then an odd thing happened. After the team's final preseason game, Coach Sean McDermott took to the podium and would only take questions about the Araiza issue. Only one of those questions involved the game, and he wouldn't answer it. Said the game itself didn't matter. That is not how this is supposed to work. You're supposed to do what San Diego State did. Araiza's proud alma mater insisted on football-only questions and walked out when the tide turned against their liking. McDermott faced the music and in a convincing tone, even while he didn't really say much, emphasized the seriousness of the situation and seemed perfectly willing to accept the blame. We as fans should always be looking for reasons to justify supporting a team. McDermott just provided you another one. That's our unfinished business, and that is our program. Start of the NFL season. This is going to be great.
College football, NFL season, Major League Baseball playoffs, a lot to get into.
Yes, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.